Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ashley. I'm a student at Mohawk College in the Autism and Behavioural Science course. My recent placement was at Brick by Brick. While I was at Brick by Brick, I had to come up with my own written program for a child. The written program that I'm going to talk to you guys about is learning to discriminate the difference between a cat and a dog. Our first step up is the client profile. Client profile. Our child name is child R. She's a female and she's 5 years old. She's diagnosed with autism. She comes to Brick by Brick 4 days a week for 3-hour sessions per day. She attends a public school in the mornings. Some characteristics of autism that I observed was minimum language, lack of joint attention, difficulties with transitions, lack of social interactions with peers, and challenging behaviors, which include screaming, whining, crying, throwing stuff, hitting, and kicking. The main area, the program that I've written will focus on learning to discriminate between a dog and a cat. The child is able to follow instruction, has good motor skills, able to follow one-step instructions, good imitation skills, good pretend play skills, and self-help skills. Reinforces for her include iPad, black cardigans, colored flashcards, or anything else black cardigans, balloons, outside, books, and Pablo stuffed animal. Our next step is best available scientific evidence. Through discrimination training, a student learns to omit specific behaviors in one or more circumstances and not in others. Discrimination training is a crucial element of systematic skills instructions in domains such as peer academics, which include matching, sorting, and imitation, academics, which is reading and writing, language, social skills, and activities of daily living. Systematic techniques have been developed to conduct discrimination training, which includes keeping instruction materials simple as possible and using most to least prompting strategy. It may be more appropriate to individualize the error correction procedure than to apply the same procedure to all children with autism, since they all learn at different rates. Conditional discrimination are one of the most commonly targeted skills in early and attentive behavioral intervention. Simple conditional method involves training simple discrimination in a mass child form, increasing the difficulty over time. In conditional method, simple discrimination are not target and all stimuli, at least 3, are target. Many of the EIVI manuals recommend the simple condition method, and EIVI supervisors report the use of this method. However, the current study suggests that the simple condition method has been associated with error correction and less efficient actualization than the conditional-only method. Social volatility. Dogs and cats are common animals that a child will see in their daily lives while out in the community or in their own homes. Teaching the child the discrimination between a dog and a cat can help the child on how to interact with those animals as well as labeling those animals. Now to look at our written program. Target objective. Child will be able to discriminate the difference between a dog and a cat at 90% accuracy over 3 consecutive sessions with 2 different therapists. Setup/location. Have the child sit on one side of the table in a therapy room. The therapist will sit on the other side of the table across from the child with the cards and instruction item in front of them facing the child. The SD and instruction. After having the cards and instruction item laid out on the table in front of the child, the therapist will then give the SD, which is give me, and it depends on what step you're on. Now looking at the prompt hierarchy. For every new item introduced do the following, which we're going to look at most to least. So the first one is the full physical prompt, second is partial physical prompt, then gestural, then independent. This is the actual steps of the program. Step 1. Present picture of the dog and a distraction item on the table in front of the child. The SD for this step is, this is a dog, give me the dog. The child will give the picture of the dog to the therapist using the prompt hierarchy. Again, it's 90% accuracy over 3 consecutive days across 2 therapists. Reinforcement is delivered FR1 with description verbal praise for correct target response. Step 2. Present picture of the cat and instruction item on the table in front of the child. The SD for this step is, "This is a cat, give me the cat." The child would give the picture of the cat to the therapist using the prompt hierarchy. Again, it's 90% accuracy over 3 consecutive days across 2 therapists. Reinforcement will be delivered after each correct target response. Step 3. Present picture of the dog, cat, and distraction item and array on the table in front of the child. The SD for this step is, "Give me the dog." The child will give the picture of the dog to the therapist using the prompt hierarchy. Again, it's 90% accuracy over 3 consecutive days across 2 therapists. Reinforcement is delivered each correct target response. Step 4. Present picture of the dog, cat, and distraction item in array on the table in front of the child. The SD for this one is, "Give me the cat." The child would give the picture of the cat to the therapist using the prompt hierarchy. Again, it's 90% accuracy over 3 consecutive days across 2 therapists. And reinforcement is delivered after each corrected target response along with descriptive verbal praise. We're going to look at the error correction procedure. If the child makes an error, the therapist will immediately provide a full physical prompt to assist the child to choose the correct target and say, "This is giving me," it depends on what step you're on. And then you're just going to move on to the next trial. Before we implemented the program, we took baseline. Baseline was collected by running a probe data session. Probe data was chosen to help see how much the child knows about cats and dogs already. No prompts were given. We looked at what is it, give me, the, and then whatever, size, color, and all of these were either an array of 1, 2, or 3. And if we look at our graph, our child scored about 38%. The data sheets shown below will be used by therapists who run the sessions. At the end of each trial, they'll circle plus if the child completes it correctly on their own using the prompt hierarchy. Circle negative if the child does not complete it correctly on their own or any additional prompts are given. The child must complete each step at 90% accuracy over 3 days with 2 different therapists. Data will be then summarized at the end of each day and graphed in the graph below. After 2 weeks after the program has been implemented, the therapist, lead therapist, and program coordinator will review the data. They will decide if any changes to the program will need to be made. If at any time there are 3 consecutive data points below baseline data or 5 consecutive data points that show a decreasing trend, the program will have to be revised. The whole program is mastered when the child reaches step 4, which is independence at 3 consecutive sessions and 90% accuracy. This is the raw data that we actually took with the child. So as you can see, in step 1, which is full physical, on the first day she got 100%. On the second day of full physical, again 100%. And on the last day of full physical, she got 100%, which means that we can move on to step 1B, which is partial physical. On the first day of partial physical, she got 90%, which is still good. On the second day of partial physical, she got 100%, and we're currently working on the rest. Maintenance. 2 weeks after completing of the program, a follow-up session should be done to test for the items from the steps in the program. This should be run by doing a probe data. If no maintenance have occurred, re-administer the program. Generalization. Generalization is shown in this program by using 2 different therapists and also using different pictures of cats and dogs. After the completion of this program, generalization can be taught using the following strategies. Teaching the sound that a cat and dog make, using pictures of different sizes of the dog and cats to learn big and small, uses pictures of different colors of dogs and cats, using pictures of different types of dog breeds, replacing the pictures with cartoon pictures of cats and dogs. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Any questions?
I have one. What problems did you face while performing this program?
We didn't run into too many problems. One problem that we did have was that the child would pick up the materials before the SD was given. The solution to that was that we would put our hands down before we gave the SD. Another problem that we faced was that the child would wander away from the table. The solution was that we'd bring her back to the table and provide a highly motivating reinforcer.
Another question is, why would she be wandering?
The reason why she's wandering is because her highly motivating reinforcer was the iPad, and because she was so fixed to it, we had to kind of take it away, and nothing is really highly motivating to her now, so we're trying to find new things to highly motivate her, and the big thing for her right now is the books.
Thank you very much. This has been very informative.